Hey, Shalom, Yasharallah, peace be unto the nation of Israel, whom Almighty they so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and speckled-bird Israelites, being Israelite foreigners scattered across the four corners of the earth, including within America, Babylon the Great, the main place for our captivity, and we are the Most High, Yahweh's chosen people of the nation of Israel. So without further ado, as always, in the Lashon Kadash, being the Holy Tongue, as in the Paleo Hebrew, being the ancient Hebrew, I'm going to give all praises, glory, infinite honor to my power, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom was the God of the living, Yahweh. Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Baruch Chodash, which is our praise to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit, whom was our strength and our Redeemer, and our light and our salvation. In the same tongue, I'm uttering my Shana Kabawadium, Laha Sequanium, Shal Gadawar many double honors to the apostles and elder bishops, great millstone, and Shalom honors salutations to Bayashad Abadah, referring to the house of David of the one-third elect remnant of the nation of Israel, along with the rest of the one-third elect men, women, and children of Israel. All right, his fellow servant, Malak Rayab, she's back at it again with another lesson through the spirit of prophecy, being a testimony of our Lord and Savior, Hamashiach Yahushai, who the master of the world ignorantly referred to, Jesus Christ. And this is another modern day World War III update, biblically known as Harmageddon, of Trump's 48-hour ultimatum, 48-hour nuclear deterrence ultimatum to Iran. Okay, which this 48-hour nuclear deterrence ultimatum, was reported a few days ago on Wednesday, the 18th. All right. So this is coming in the midst of ongoing missile fire between Iran and the Israeli state, including fresh waves of missile attacks from Iran on northern Israel, reported a few hours ago. Okay. So I'm going to get into the information, bring out a few articles and videos, and filter everything to biblical prophecy to further edify and exhort the elect of the nation of Israel, okay, which is where our hope lies in the kingdom of heaven, all right, to come to pass, okay, within the aftermath of these end time prophecies coming to pass. So this is a Yapah time to be alive, meaning a beautiful time to be alive, okay, because we're in the midst of our Messiah, Yahweh Shah, returning. So it says here, Trump's ultimatum to Iran, the Israeli state may get what it wants. The ultimatum reportedly comes with a deadline of just a few days, with a warning that if Iran does not comply, the United States will continue to support the Israeli state and ensure the destruction of nuclear facilities, particularly Fordow. Let's go and jump down. On Wednesday, United States President DJT issued an ultimatum to Iran, stating that they must agree to preliminary conditions for negotiations on a nuclear program before he will work with the Israeli state to establish a ceasefire, according to information obtained by the Israeli Hayom. All right. It says here Israel Hayom. All right. So this further confirms that America has already agreed, all right, to help the Israeli state within a conflict with Iran, because America, is the biggest military ally to the Israeli state. Hence the prophecy in Jeremiah 49:20, how the least of the flock would draw them out, draw these nations out into this war, because the least of the flock is the least of the flock of the Edomites, okay, which is the Israeli state, the Amalekites, over there in the Holy Land. So jumping down, it says, let me see, it says the Israeli state is pushing for additional conditions to address Iran's ballistic missile systems and its support for terrorist organizations outside its borders. It remains unclear whether these will be included, according to an Israeli official. The Israeli Air Force is currently engaged in intensive strikes targeting Iran's ballistic missile systems, nuclear facilities, and regime infrastructure, with these operations expected to reach their peak in the coming days. All right. And they've also been attacking their oil facilities, okay, which is another reason why it's reported about, those 10 million, the population of 10 million, or at least 10 million people over there in Tehran, Iran, have been struggling to evacuate, okay, within immense and heavy congested traffic, due to, lack of gas, by way of the oil being compromised by these Israeli defense force, these Israeli force missile attacks. All right. So it says here, jump down. President DJT is expected to decide whether to join the Israeli state in an attack on Iran, particularly targeting Fordow, where B-52 bombers and bunker-busting bombs would be used to destroy the facility. Opponents in the U.S. are primarily concerned about potential retaliatory attacks on oil fields, you see, and facilities in neighboring Persian Gulf states such as Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia. All right. Leaks in American media from these opponents have suggested that Iran was not actually close to developing a nuclear bomb, and included a warning to the Israeli state about depleting stocks of Arrow missiles. Both claims are far from reality, all right, because, even the United States Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, admitted that Iran is not developing a nuclear weapon. Okay. They're very well, in the process of doing so, okay, by way of the pursuit of war against them by Amalek, all right, and the Edomites, on behalf of America and their NATO military alliance, all right. So Esau has very great, concern to be worried about retaliatory strikes against their oil fields and facilities within these neighboring Persian Gulf states, around these dragons of Arabia, okay, such as Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and so forth. And why is that? Because, as it's revealed here in this article, this BBC article entitled "Trump Approves Iran Attack Plan but Has Not Made Final Decision," reports say there's like a little diagram of U.S. military bases surrounding the so-called Middle East and Western Asia, surrounding those very areas, those neighboring Persian Gulf state areas mentioned in the initial article. Okay. All right. So this is why these military bases are feared to be targeted. Okay, within the nuclear facilities and oil depots and so forth, within these areas. So as it says in Psalm 37 and 35, they spread their wickedness like a green bay tree. Okay. So this is why these nations, including these dragons of Arabia, these Muslim nations, are getting tired of these devils, and they are afraid of furbishing their swords, as is prophesied in Ezekiel 21 and 9. Okay, these flying swords, okay, to produce that thermonuclear fire, prophesied in 2nd Ezra 15 and 41. All right. So this is we're going to get Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 22, and it says, "A sound of battle is in the land." Okay, it says a sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. Okay, hence these rumors of wars we keep hearing about, prophesied in St. Matthew the 24th chapter. Okay, all right, through these thermonuclear evacuation orders, or in this case rather these evacuation orders, okay, and fears of a destruction from these missiles being fired upon these targeted areas. Okay, mainly Iran at this point. All right, so this is verse 23. "How is a hammer the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations?" It says, "I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord." Yahweh by Hashem Yeshua. So the whole vibration of America, Babylon the Great, modern day Babylon, the virgin daughter of Babylon, aka Babylon the great land of confusion, is satanic. All right. For Satan means adversary, because of the satanic vibration in America is contrary, or the vibration or spirit of America is contrary to the righteous spirit of the scriptures. Hence why, all manners of fornication is permitted and legalized through Esau's immoral decrees. Okay, to normalize wickedness through sensationalism. Okay, through the whoredom, all right, through the sodomy, hence Pride Month. Okay, hence sodomites being permitted to be married 10 years ago by the Obama administration through all 50 states in America, nationwide. Okay, bestiality within about 7 to 10 areas within the West. Okay, at least 7 to 10 areas within the West. Okay, PDF philia are going under the radar, especially prevalent in the political, within the political sector. All right, so this wickedness at an all-time high. Okay, is why this place is, it has had a snare laid out for its destruction. Meaning that a snare means a trap. Why? Because the spirit of Babylon, specifically Babylon the Great, has striven against the Lord through that satanic vibration. This is Jeremiah 15:25, and this is why great pride and entitlement and narcissism is prevalent in America, because of that pride, okay, of the theme of America, Babylon the Great. Liberty and justice for all, meaning what? Freedom to be a demon, freedom to be a brute beast, to be an idolater, okay, to be a whoremonger, to be a whore, okay, to be a murderer, which is prevalent within the military-industrial complex, okay, under the guise of democracy, seizing the natural resources of these nations under the guise of democracy, hence the war in Iraq. So this is Jeremiah 15:25. The Lord Yahweh by Shemeshai had opened his armory and had brought forth the weapons of his indignation, which is righteous anger. And those weapons of his indignation are these thermonuclear missiles. It says, for this is the work of the Lord God Yahweh by Shemeshai of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans, which the Chaldeans were warlocks of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, the Assyrians. And the modern day Chaldeans or warlocks are these Zionist bankers. Okay. All right. Governing the world and regulating the world through their witchcraft and their carnality. Okay. So this is Jeremiah 51:24. And it reads, and I will render to Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith the Lord Yahweh, by Shemeshai. For the controversy of Zion, pursuing Isaiah 34:8, is ultimately why the main place for our captivity, America, is getting ready to be destroyed. Okay? It's verse 25. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountains, saith the Lord Yahweh by Shemeshai, which destroyest all the earth, and I will stretch out mine hand upon thee and roll thee down from the rocks, and will make thee a burnt mountain. All right, because a mountain represents a government, an empire. So this burnt mountain is referring to the destroyed empire of America, Babylon the Great. This is going to be burnt by way of these thermonuclear missiles. Okay, let's go to get that in 2nd Ezra 16:7. And it says, may one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer. And these proverbial archers are these nations releasing these nukes, these flying arrows, which are these flying swords, okay, which are the nukes. The mighty Lord Yahweh by Shemeshai sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Lord Yahweh by Shemeshai shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence, because the vast majority of the world, okay, mainly those who take that chip, the mark of the beast, will be incinerated by this fire, okay, pursuing Revelation, the 14th chapter, specifically for taking that mark of the beast, which is that chip, okay, hence why we keep hearing more reports about it, all right, through, the human trials, through Elon's Neuralink company, okay, the brain computer interface companies, okay, all right, doing these human trials in China and other areas outside of America, because this is a global agenda to chip everyone. Just like Aaron Russo had told Alex Jones several years ago. Okay, because this is the end game. This is the new currency, the mark of the beast. Hence why this is the next major prophecy. And when this is mandated, all right, though, this thermonuclear destruction is going to be right around the corner. Okay, so this is 2nd Ezra 16:12. The earth quaketh and the foundations thereof. The sea riseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also before the Lord Yahweh by Shemeshai, and before the glory of his power. For strong and why is the earth going to quake? All right, through this earthquake, this great earthquake in Isaiah 24:21, by way of the impact of these ICBM missile warheads on this earth, on the coast of this earth. All right. Verse 13, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. And this is what we're seeing. These arrows being shot into the ends of the world. Let's go ahead and get this quick report, or these quick reports here. Are these nukes or these missiles that eventually transition to nuclear fire? This is a report on Fox News. It says missiles have been launched from Iran towards northern Israel. Missiles will arrive in a few minutes, and support a couple of hours ago. It says breaking: ballistic missiles launched from Iran towards the Israeli state. Sirens are expected to be activated in a few minutes. And here's a death toll, okay, of those Israeli attacks on Iran. At least 657 deleted and 2,037 injured in Israeli strikes on Iran, according to U.S.-based human rights activist news agency. And this is just the numbers that they're reporting. Okay, so all hell's breaking loose. Let's get some more similar news on that. All right, so this is on jns.org. It says hackers hit Iran's bank Sefa, disrupt services nationwide, which has led to a 36-hour internet shortage or community, through the cyber attack that was done by the Mossad. Okay, let's go and confirm that. This is on the JC.com entitled Mossad set up drone base in Iran and smuggled in commandos ahead of strike. So the Israeli intelligence, i.e. Mossad, has been indulging in various intelligence, assignments or tactics to further overthrow the current Iranian regime to eventually lead into the assassination of Ayatollah Khamenei. Okay, so just want I'm gonna get this. Let me see. Actually, I'm going to get this next article. So on BBC, go back to this article here entitled "Trump approves Iran attack plan but has not made final decision." Reports say. So says the U.S. president held off from strikes in case Iran agreed to abandon its nuclear program. An intelligence source said Trump is reportedly considering strikes on the underground uranium enrichment facility at Fordow. All right. Speculation mounted about Trump's intentions on Wednesday after Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei rejected his demand for surrender. Okay. So Khamenei rebuked Trump in a speech which was broadcast on Iranian television, saying that any U.S. military intervention would be costly, and added, the Iranian nation will not surrender. So this further goes into the prophecy in Jeremiah 15:22 of that great sound of battle in the land of war. It further confirms the times we're living in, war, and not peace and love, man. Okay? That's why I say in Matthew 24:12, it says, because of iniquity abounding, love shall wax cold, roughly paraphrasing. Right? Because people are on edge. Okay? And they don't already, and people, especially in America, already don't have sincere affection for one another. Okay? Because the vibration of America through esteem, liberty and justice for all. Hence why the narcissism and entitlement is such at a premium, so high. Okay? Of the, going to the pride of this place. So it says it was Khamenei's first appearance since the Israeli state launched what it describes as preemptive strikes on Friday. Iran's mission to the United Nations also mocked Trump in posts on X, calling him a has-been warmonger clinging to relevance and adding that no Iranian official would grovel at the gate to the White House. Okay. Trump brushed off the Supreme Leader's rejection, saying good luck, but again declined to disclose his plans. I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. He said, unconditional surrender. That means I've had it. So we're going to play this quick video. Probably a few seconds of it. Let me see. Salakia.
I'm not picky. You choose. Because I know and you know that's a sham.
Me back to the first thing.
Told me those would be fake talks at this point that Iran would use to lie, cheat, and string along the United States.
All right.
David?
Jonathan Carl with the interview tonight. John, thank you. President Trump, meanwhile, with world leaders at the G7 summit in Canada, speaking on the Israel-Iran war with a message for Iran.
They have to make a deal, and it's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war. And they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
Okay, so that further confirms that the peace is off the table. Peace talks off the table, and it's really off the table after you eliminated, and Iran's top military general Soleimani 5 years ago, and have gone down the military chain of command through Iran, as of recently, taking out another military official and more nuclear scientists in Iran. And, essentially, then, damn near the entire military chain of command of Iran's proxy militia, Hezbollah, including Hassan Nasrallah. All right. So they're fed up with you devils. And Trump's rhetoric just further confirms that, they, it just further confirms this prophecy. We're going to get this Psalm 10 and 5. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. Okay. Just like he puffed at that South African president by playing that fake, presenting that fake, or that photo, okay, of so-called, white farmer oppression, okay, which that photo he presented had nothing to do with that particular area that he was speaking about, okay? Hence why, the same reason why he's puffing at Iran and puffing at anyone that would appear to be anti-establishment, including U.S. civilians being told to get out of the country, mainly our people, the Israelites. All right. So, all right, let's go back to the prophecies. Before I do, let me go ahead and get this here. The war of words and speculation about U.S. entry into the war came as Iranians continued to jam roads at the capital Tehran, a city of 10 million people seeking sanctuary from Israeli attacks. All right. And that's what I was going into earlier. Bibi Netanyahu, the Israeli state's prime minister, said in a video on Wednesday that his country's forces were progressing step by step towards eliminating threats posed by Iran's nuclear sites and ballistic missile arsenal. We control the skies over Tehran. We are striking with tremendous force at the regime of the Ayatollahs. We are hitting the nuclear sites, the missiles, the headquarters, the symbols of the regime, he said. Okay. All right. All right, so this is why they're trading thermonuclear fire over there. Okay, hence why Bibi Netanyahu also said, today is Tel Aviv, tomorrow is New York, which is an encrypted message that that war taking place between the Israeli state and Iran will transition into Iran attacking the military bases, okay, surrounding those neighboring Persian Gulf states, okay, as displayed in this little diagram here, okay. And which will eventually transition into the actual source of these U.S. military bases being attacked, which is America. Okay, hence the prophecy of Babylon the Great, America being destroyed by thermonuclear fire by her foreign enemies. All right, including by way of the BRICS nations, i.e., Russia, Iran, China, and so forth. Because right now the war, the war is between. There's many proxy wars taking place, but the major conflict is between the Israeli state and Iran. Okay, which is going to further escalate into the destruction of America. All right, because to make matters worse, America through the NATO forces is fighting Russia through their Ukraine proxy. They're also fighting North Korea through the South Korean proxy. They're also fighting China through the Taiwan proxy. So eventually, these nations are going, additional nations, including the ones mentioned, are going to be under the guard of Russia. Okay, to go against America to contribute into the destruction of America, Babylon the Great. All right, it's just prophesied in Ezekiel 38:7 how Magog, Russia, will be a guardian to these nations. Okay, so this is back in 2nd Esdras 16 and 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, his arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and he shall not miss. When they begin to be shot into the ends of the world, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out, till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? For it confirms reincarnation. Okay, regarding Ezra's vision that he was to be on the scene when this thermonuclear destruction would take place. Okay, which his voice further represents the voice of the elect. Okay, the sincere supplications to the Lord, including prayer, the main communication line to the Lord Yahweh by Shemeshai, to remember us in the day of destruction. All right, within the aftermath of this great sound of the battle in the land, mainly the land of America, Babylon Great, where this war is going to end. Okay, which will also touch the Holy Land to purge it of its filth, percent of Revelation 20:9. Hence why the Holy Land is under attack by Elam, all right, the Iranians, the modern-day Persians. So this is Second Esdras 8:50. All right, because like our forefather Ezra said, woe is me, woe is me. What should I do in those days? Okay. All right, the answer is seeking the Lord through prayer, fasting, okay, seeking, inclining one's ear to the prophecies by reading, meditating on the scriptures, and just being in tune with prophecy. Okay. This is Second Esdras 8:50. For many great misery shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. Because these people, the vast majority, are not seeking the Lord. They're seeking the pleasure of their own belly through these pleasantries and dainties out here, through the comfort foods and the various vices, okay, that promotes the love of the flesh, through the false sense of living. America, Babylon the Great promotes, okay, which is of that Esau's death covenant, okay, through the wine of fornication, of Western philosophy, okay, for those who sow to the flesh shall reap corruption, man. All right. So this is Proverbs 8:12. And it says, I, wisdom, dwell with prudence to find out knowledge of witty inventions. Okay. Including Esau's atomic bombs. Okay. All right. That he dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the biblical Ammonites, the so-called Japanese, around World War II. All right, 1945. All right. All right. Okay, these hypersonic missiles and thermonuclear missiles. Okay, because this further exposes the hypocrisy of these damn devils are looking to deter the nuclear program of Iran, within them developing nuclear weapons, for the fact that America owns nuclear weapons. Okay, ready for use to further fulfill prophecy. All right. So the hypocrisy and vanity and folly of Esau's war, pro-war propaganda is all a part of his attempts to control the narrative that he is a peacemaker and he's a victim. Okay. This is Proverbs 8:13. The fear of the Lord, Yahweh by Shem Shai, to hate evil, pride and arrogancy in the evil way, and the froward mouth do I hate. Okay. So this is the fear of the Lord, Yahweh by Shem Shai. Okay. All right, which requires the hatred of evil, all manners of evil, including pride and arrogancy in every evil way. Okay. Including these witty evil inventions such as a microchip. Okay, I believe it was invented by Carl Sanders. Okay, if I'm not mistaken. Once again, these missiles of these weapons of mass destruction and so forth, man. The religion, the man-made religion, okay, of pagan idolatrous origins. Okay, the politics, the AI technology, okay, this mark of the beast is integrated within and so forth. All of this is of evil that we hate. Okay. So this is and it's referring to the elect, including myself as a hopeful elect. Verse 14 says, counsel is mine and sound wisdom. I am an understanding. I have strength. By me kings reign and princes decree justice. By me princes rule and nobles, even all the judges of the earth. I love them that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me. Okay, and the nobles of the nobles of the earth and the judges of the earth, and these wicked princes or rulers, okay, do not fulfill this luxury, this righteous luxury, seeking the Lord. Why? Because they have they dwell in great pride. Okay. Like I said in verse 15, by the Most High, Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, kings reign and princes decree justice. Really referring to the princes of Israel, okay, which became proud princes. Hence why we got exiled out of Jerusalem for abusing the law, statutes, commandments, attempting to sit in the seat of Moses regarding the wicked leadership of our people. Okay. So these are just further prime examples of the vanity of this flesh that's going to cause people to be destroyed. Okay. Traits and characteristics of individuals who do not love the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay. That are not willing to seek him. Okay. Who do not love him, because love is an action of keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, as it says in 1 John 5:3, which further confirms that this dire warning of unconforming our mind from this place, America, Babylon the Great, okay, is for the nation of Israel, of this divine evacuation, okay, by way of, like the beloved, priest Osmond Wath had went into, the recent lesson on that divine evacuation, okay, being intended for the Lord's people, the Israelites. Okay. So those who love him will seek him and be spared from this impending destruction that's coming, this doom, okay, that's eventually going to destroy America, leading to America's destruction, prophesied in 2 Ezra 7. So this is Psalm 31:20. And it reads, "Thou shalt hide them in secret of thy presence from the pride of man. Thou shalt keep them secretly in a pavilion from the strife of tongues." And the pavilion is another word for shelter. Okay. So, and how's it ultimately going to be done in the midst of thermonuclear destruction? Let's get Isaiah 26 and 20. And it says, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed." Okay, to the indignation of this thermonuclear destruction being casted upon America, Babylon the Great. Okay. All right. In which the people of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, will be brought into the doors of his chambers. Okay. Which refers to the chariots. Okay. Which I'm going to get in Revelation 15 and 2 and the AMP. All right. And it says, "Then I saw something like a sea or large expanse of glass mixed with fire, and those who were victorious over the beast and over his image and over the number corresponding to his name," which is 6, "were standing on a sea or large expanse of glass, holding harps of the Most High God Yahweh by Shem Shai, worshiping him." Okay, so once again from the top, "Then I saw something like a sea or large expanse of glass mixed with fire," right, which essentially represents the windows, okay, of the chariots, including the fathership. Okay. All right. That the elect will be translated into to witness the destruction of America, Babylon the Great, the main place for captivity. It says, "Then I saw something like a sea or a large expanse of glass mixed with fire, and those who were," all right, because that mix of fire is a reflection of the thermonuclear destruction of America, Babylon the Great that we're going to witness. It says, "Then I saw something like a sea or a large expanse of glass mixed with fire, and those who were victorious over the beast and over his image and over the number corresponding to his name were standing on a sea or large expanse of glass, holding harps to the Most High God Yahweh by Shem Shai, worshiping him." Okay, so essentially, it's going to be like a, it's like a window, towards like a window of view from the bottom of the chariot, in which we're going to be able to witness the destruction of America, Babylon the Great. Okay. All right. In so many words. All right. So, yeah. So this is a righteous luxury for the elect to witness the destruction, to finally witness the destruction of America, Babylon the Great. Okay. Within the shelter of the Lord's pavilion, his shelter. Okay. Which is ultimately through that strong tower, which is the name of the Lord Yahweh by Shem Shai, that will be called on in these last days. Okay, for the elect of Israel to be spared from this great trouble that's coming, including Jacob's trouble in the time of civil war. Okay, which is further escalating, including why there was a MAGA terror attack that was further reported on a few politicians. Okay, a political couple. Okay, which escapes me where. Matter of fact, let me look that up real quick. Let me see. Politicians. Let me see. Yeah, Minnesota. Yeah, there's a political couple that was put to death, recently put to death in Minnesota, man. Okay, by this reported perpetrator, Vance Bolter. And they're calling this a MAGA terror attack, which further confirms the use of Esau's right wing political paradigm, which is another further divide and conquer war tactic. Further confirms that war is on the horizon, man. Okay, in totality, in the civil sense and in the worldwide sense, to eventually lead into the destruction of America and the salvation of Israel. So I made it off on that note. Pray these lessons further edify and exhort into elect, and give all praise, glory, and infinite honor to my power, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom was the God of the living, Yahweh by Shemir Shai Barach Hadash. Once again, dub honors to the apostles and elder bishops, great millstone, for teaching and ruling well, and shalom, honors and salutations to by Yashid Abadah. All right, the house of David, the 1/3 elect remnant of the nation of Israel, along with the rest of the 1/3 elect men, women, and children of Israel. Okay, prophesied to make it through that fire in Zechariah, the 13th chapter. All right, Abba Ball, Mawath, Labba Ball, soon and very soon, and on to the next one.